जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जनरंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा जय विष्णुपाद परम परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सदस्य श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय नामाचार्य श्री हरदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्री वासुदेव गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय नर्मदा माई की जय भक्ति देवी की जय श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कम करति वाचनं मंगलं गाति मित्र माधवं वंदे श्री गुरुदेव परमाधव श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरम हरे कृष्णा to all devotees warm welcome to yet another online reading session of the book Mothers and Masters written by His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj published by Bhakti Vikas Trust dedicated to His Divine Grace C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have read very fast. It has come to the end of the book actually. Not even 50-60 pages are left. Okay, so we are continuing to read the topic playing the Hindu card, page number 244. Hindus support manner gain prominence. I hope I can hear you. Thank you very much. So devotees, I suppose that they are able to hear me, so they can put in the chat box they are able to hear me. Yes, thank you. Am I audible? Okay, so we'll continue to read. Hindus support manner gain prominence. The manner devotees headed by Akhandadhi Das, the long serving temple president, orchestrated a campaign to keep the manor open, taking help from Hindus all over Britain. Finally, after several years of struggle, the campaign was successful, and it further brought to the notice of the British politicians that the Hindus were an emerging and important constituency. Although the Hindus had arrived with nothing, most of them being more enterprising than the average Britisher, had within a short time become businessmen, and many of their children were qualifying for careers in medicine, dentistry, and other above average professions. These Hindus were hardworking and family oriented in many ways, ideal citizens, not the type whose children were likely to become hooligans or drunkards or cause riots. Apart from that, two of the world's richest people were Hindus based in London, and so the British politicians noted that it was not wise to ignore the Hindus. Devotees become unofficial leaders of UK Hindus. Consequently, apart from immediate effect of keeping the manor open, the manor campaign united the UK Hindus in an unprecedented manner. Previously, they had never had any issue to unite around. So this campaign gave them a new identity, respectability, and voice. In many ways, it also caused the devotees to become the Hindus' leaders, not only in the eyes of the Hindus themselves, but also in those of politicians, the press, and what you might call respectable people. The Hare Krishnas were no longer just some ragtag dropouts, but the unofficial leaders of an important constituency of British citizens. And the devotees also realized, hey, we are mainstream, we are establishment, continuing to play the Hindu card. Having won the manor campaign, the devotees found themselves with a new advantageous identity. The campaign had generated much favorable publicity, and devotees were now seen as a group with much influential support, not to be pushed around. Hence, the devotees continued to represent themselves as Hindus. There were certain advantages to that, being that most people who came to them were Hindus. Non Hindu visitors to the manor were likely to think that they were in a Hindu temple, because at any time of the day or night at the manor there were many Hindus present. And anyway, in the public estimation, a temple of Krishna is a specifically Hindu place of worship. Further influence of Hinduism within ISKCON. Establishment of Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. Oh, eventually, the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies was established by devotees, and consequently, it was called the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies, not Vedic or Vaishnava studies. I saw one video presentation wherein one young Gujarati woman from England explained how she had taken a course given by Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. She shared something to the effect of, I am Swaminarayan by background, and they taught me the meaning of puja and this and that. She came in asterisk, Swaminarayan, a Hindu sect, puja, a ceremony of worship. She came in as a Swaminarayan, she took the course, and she went out as a Swaminarayan. In other words, she did not learn what Srila Prabhupada taught. Oh, Krishna. But she understood better about Hinduism because she had attended the Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. Motorcycle pujas. The world's largest Hindu population is, of course, in India. And when pious Hindus in India buy a new motorcycle, the most common form of mechanical transport, since most people still cannot afford a car, they take it to the temple to have it blessed via a motorcycle puja. Hindus in the West are more likely to have car pujas, and many ISKCON temples oblige. I don't think there is anything in the Shastras about the puja procedures. They are probably invented by the devotees who perform them. The pious Hindus are satisfied, and they offer some dakshina to the offering officiating priest, which augments the priest's income. Of course, the priests might give the dakshina to the temple, although I know at least one temple where they don't. There, it is considered acceptable that the temple priests get extra income to supplement their allowance. Hare Krishna. The Hindu card in Russia and Hungary. Oh, Krishna, Hungary also. Recently, there were international campaigns involving ISKCON devotees in Russia and Hungary. In Tomsk, Russia, local prosecutors tried to prohibit the sale of Bhagavad Gita as it is. And in Hungary, the government more or less wanted to ban the Krishna consciousness movement. In both cases, the devotees were able to come out successful by playing the Hindu card, by maintaining that we are not some weird new cult, but that we represent Hinduism, which is an ancient religion and should be considered bona fide. American centers. In America also, our movement has become Hinduized. I believe there is an official GBC ban against it, but still Durga Puja, oh Krishna, Durga Puja is celebrated in some ISKCON temples in America, and Indian Republic Day is celebrated with the singing of Jai Hind, the international national anthem. And to give some more information to people, on the Independence Day, that is August 15th, the tricolor DT dresses are made for the DTs. So tricolor dresses are made for the DTs. Tricolors, that means Indian flag dresses are made to the DTs. And even for Republic Day also. And in one temple, a Mayavadi guru lectured just days prior to his being widely discredited in the Indian press as a womanizer. Oh. Pujas and kalashas for mundane benefits. Several ISKCON temples in South India invite people for special pujas. North India also. For special pujas that are purported to remove doshas, malefic astrological influences, and many ISKCON temples throughout India and overseas advertise for donors to sponsor a kalasha for Janmashtami and thus derive all kinds of material benefits and some spiritual benefit also. Kalasha means pot, footnote. Kalasha, pot, especially one containing liquids used in religious ceremonies. Janmashtami, the appearance anniversary of Lord Krishna, celebrated as a major festival. Benefits of a Hinduized ISKCON. Recognition by British politicians. In some areas of the world, our movement unabashedly identifies itself with Hinduism and accommodates some facets of Hinduism that Srila Prabhupada never introduced. In other words, the movement has become Hinduized. This has certain benefits, as we saw in Russia and Hungary. Also in the British House of Commons, there is an annual Janmashtami function organized by devotees. Only a handful of MPs attend, but for devotees, it's a huge step up from being penniless ex-hippies getting arrested. And at number 10, Downing Street, the official residence of the Prime Minister of United Kingdom of Great Britain and the Northern Ireland, there is an annual Diwali celebration organized by ISKCON devotees and presented as a Hindu function. Not everyone gets invited to number 10. You have to be well accepted as a part of establishment to be invited to a social event at number 10. Last year at that function, devotees presented the Prime Minister with a copy of Ramayana. However, it was an edition of Ramayana that does not clearly establish Rama as Supreme Lord or even that there is a Supreme Lord. It is a Hindu book written by a ISKCON devotee. I don't want to tell that name of the book, but that is not at least Maharaj Ramayana. Sorry to say. Educational interaction, obviously it is not. Educational interaction. Another development in the United Kingdom is that the Honorable Prime Minister recently declared, we need more morality in our country, so we need religious-based schools. In response to this initiative, ISKCON devotees were asked to organize religious schools for Hindus. Devotees in Britain are now running 2 schools, which, as far as I understand, are similar to ISKCON schools anywhere with government syllabi, that is Darwin theory and all, and some yoga exercises and chanting of Hare Krishna. Some of the teachers are ISKCON devotees. One reason the devotees were asked to start schools for Hindus is that over the past several years, literally thousands of school children have visited Bhaktivedanta Manor. In today's multicultural Britain, schools try to inculcate in children a sense of respect and tolerance for all kinds of religions. As a part of religious course, many teachers take their children on an outing to a Hindu temple, and they mostly go to Bhaktivedanta Manor. It is by far the best Hindu temple in Britain. It is large and set in beautiful, spacious grounds in the countryside. The resident devotees are friendly and competent guides who tell the kids about Hinduism, bring them to see the deities, give them prasadam, and get them to chant Hare Krishna. The kids get a nice impression of devotees, and the teachers are also happy, and because they and the school children are well treated, and it is a good educational experience. Thanks to the manner devotees' interaction with Hindus and schools, as also the presence of Oxford Center for Hindu Studies. Devotees are now consulted regarding syllabi for religious studies in secular schools in the UK. Devotees get to write or review what is written about Hinduism. Compare this situation with that of some years ago in California when the school syllabus presented Hinduism in a very bad light. It was actually blasphemous. American Hindus protested, but they were unable to change it. Rationalization. It could be proposed if we hadn't taken the Hindu lead, someone would have. It could have been the Swaminarayans or the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, but it is the devotees who are recognized as the prominent voice of Hinduism in the UK. Similarly, with car pujas, etc. If we don't do it, Hindus will get it done at some other temple. So better they come to us. Downside of Hindu card. Krishna consciousness presented differently than by Srila Prabhupada. First attack. That we are identified as Hindus has its utility, but and here comes the but. But and here comes the but. It also means that we will not say very loudly many things that Srila Prabhupada said. Srila Prabhupada ends that essay, Krishna Consciousness, the Hindu cult or divine culture, by writing, the Krishna consciousness movement has nothing to do with the Hindu religion or a system of religion. No Christian gentleman will be interested in changing his faith from Christian to Hindu. Similarly, no Hindu gentleman of culture will be ready to change to the Christian faith. Such changing is for men who have no particular social status. But everyone will be interested in understanding the philosophy and science of God and taking it seriously. One should clearly understand that the Krishna consciousness movement is not preaching the so-called Hindu religion. We are giving a spiritual culture that can solve all problems of life, and therefore it is being accepted all over the world. But devotees nowadays cannot say this very clearly. A sannyasi god brother of mine told me that one of the disciples in UK, one of his disciples in the United Kingdom, who is an Indian Hindu by background, makes TV shows that present Krishna consciousness very straightforwardly. He strongly emphasizes that Krishna consciousness is not Hinduism, but a universal spiritual culture. These shows are well received by many Hindus and non-Hindus alike, but not, as I told by my sannyasi godbrother, by the authorities of ISKCON in UK. Why not? Because the ISKCON UK authorities are presenting Krishna consciousness with a distinctly different slant from Srila Prabhupada's direct, clear teachings. Although there are seeming advantages to doing so, still it cannot be denied that it is significantly different presentation of Krishna consciousness from that which Srila Prabhupada taught. By playing the Hindu card, devotees become reticent about presenting Krishna consciousness as the ultimate spiritual science. Although from the cultural and sociological perspective, Krishna consciousness might be viewed as a Hindu sect, and although it might be easier to present ourselves to the public as such, that is not how Srila Prabhupada instructed us to present it. Compromise. With Mayavadis, and along with any advantages comes the caveat of having to mix with and support non-devotee Hindus. For instance, if there is a certain effort to close a Mayavadi temple, we will then be obliged to support the Mayavadis, whom we should be opposing as great cheaters and great offenders of the Lord. As devotees become constrained from even speaking about Mayavad, the quintessential words Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini become a mere ritual chant with no actual meaning in our practical lives. See also Hindus and Hinduization, chapter 8 of Hare Krishna, transformed by Professor E. Brooke Rochford, 2007, New York University Press, for an overview of the growing importance and influence of Indian Hindus in ISKCON's North American communities. Suggested further reading: A Message to the Youth of India by Bhakti Vikas Swami, Glimpses of Traditional Indian Life by Bhakti Vikas Swami. Very nice. It's a nice propagate. This one for advertisement. Glimpse of Traditional Indian Life by Bhakti Vikas Swami. Varnashrama Dharma, compiled by Hare Krishna Devi Dasi, quotes by Srila Prabhupada, published by BBT, featured in Bhaktivedanta Vedabase. So devotees who would like to order a message to the Youth of India, so this is the link for that. Sorry, I have to take the opportunity to do that. So this is the book, a message to the Youth of India. This is that book you can order if you want glimpses in traditional Indian life. Glimpses of traditional Indian life. Where is that book? Oh, Krishna, where is that? Glimpses of traditional Indian life. Crisis. Yes. So this is glimpses book. This is that book. Okay, further reading. Varnashrama Dharma and Srila Prabhupada by Shyam Sundar Das. www.16108.com Dharma. This website is by Amey Atmadas, offers depth analysis of many of the points discussed in this book. Rethinking Varnashrama. This essay by Krishna Kirtidas discusses the connection of Varnashrama Dharma with ISKCON's overall preaching mission and how its application can solve many immediate and long-term social problems, both for ISKCON and for society at large. Light for the Dark Well, Krishna Conscious Family Life by Mula Prakriti Devi Dasi and Vishaka Devi Dasi, Back to Godhead. My Brief Against Feminism, Hidden Misogyny by Narada Priya Devi Dasi. Return of the Mothers by Narada Priya Devi Dasi. See the particular blog. And YouTube, a short video for insights into feminism. So this link I can give you afterwards. Okay. I will read Falini Devi Dasi's and rest I can tell some other devotees to read. Okay. Comments on previous editions. Falini Devi Dasi, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Prabhupada, India, USA. Women masters or mothers called by the author a tract is much more than a religious pamphlet. It is a deep and thoroughly cogent treatise on the current social anomalies within ISKCON, mirroring the social aberrations of the Western world and how these incongruities relate to and having arisen due to our members remaining too much influenced by Western society. His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami is not concerned with how he will be viewed for stating facts. He speaks courageously and truthfully about the unquestionable presence and perennial effects of feminism within ISKCON. The need for early marriage, the practicality of polygamy, the importance of shyness among women and their need for protection, the fact that Srila Prabhupada never appointed women as the temple presidents or GBC members, the dangers of co-education and the worldly careers for women, and other such hot topics that may arouse angry arguments but that nonetheless need to be addressed, discussed and adopted in our society as a part of fulfilling the other 50% of Srila Prabhupada's mission, Daiva Varnashrama Dharma. Srila Prabhupada did not want us to emulate the American, also called as Western way of life. He came to improve it, to change it, to replace American culture with Vedic culture. He wanted us to transcend the American way of life and to realize that we don't belong in this world. Srila Prabhupada states, I am not in this world, just like I'm in America. I am not adopting any ways of life as Americans do, nor only myself. All my disciples who are following me, they are also not Americans. They are different from American behavior, American way of life. I don't accept any consciousness of America. And I teach my disciples also to take that consciousness. So if you take to Krishna consciousness and you remain in Krishna consciousness, you don't belong to this world. It's a very nice quote. Though Maharaj uses not only quotes from Srila Prabhupada's teachings, but from other sources as well. Clearly, his objective is to clarify, adhere to, and promote the teachings and purpose of our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada predicted that if ISKCON were to fall apart, it would be due to internal strife tearing our society apart from within. We have already seen in our short 50 years as a fledgling movement the beginnings of internal crumbling. This book is a wake-up call for those of us who do not want to see the further disintegration of ISKCON. If such sensibly presented essays as Women Masters or Mothers are not carefully read and given serious consideration by the deep thinkers of our ISKCON society, we may see the demise of our own institution within our very lifetimes. There has been objections voiced by devotees who find the book's cover unappealing or who find some fault with Maharaj for discussing standards of cleanliness for his female disciples during their menses. I appeal to leaders of our movement, please read this book with a humble, open heart and don't make the mistake of shooting the messenger. His Holiness Bhaktivikas Swami is simply representing Srila Prabhupada's stance and teachings on delicate subjects, which some would prefer to ignore and discredit as irrelevant due to their over sympathizing with American and Western ways of life. Women Masters or Mothers offers powerful solutions to the problems we face as a spiritual institution. It is a must read for every member of our ISKCON society. If we simply ignore this book as irrelevant or fanatical, our tendency as a religious movement will no doubt be to adopt the spirit of modernism, thus inviting calamity upon our spiritual progress, both individually and collectively. If we thus loosen our standards and degrade from being powerful, pure, and dynamic force that Srila Prabhupada groomed us to be, how can ISKCON survive? Purity is force that keeps our movement thriving and growing. Impurity, which can be traced to deeply rooted attachment and adherence to Western social behaviors, is an opposing force that can lead us to degradation. Srila Prabhupada warned that we should keep ourselves free from the impurities of materialistic culture. If we give in to the cultural norms of a degraded, failing society, what will be ISKCON's destiny? William Raff Ing's chilling admonition can be taken a step further to read that religion which marries the spirit of today will be a widow tomorrow. Baba. Okay, I would like to request Kishorji to read. Hare Krishna, Kishore. Are you there?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. From where I have to read, Prabhu?
Oh, you're not following?
Yeah, just now my mother, I was with one conversation.
Okay. We are in 256 page number. The one which I put in the page, you can see that?
Yes, I can see that, but
Malaya Hari
okay. Okay,
Kunda
okay.
Devdasi from there. That
Yes.
one you have to read.
Yes. Are you able to hear my voice clearly, Prabhu?
You have to put your that mic, whatever it is, just near your mouth in such
Okay.
a way that it should not have the hissing sound, and slowly you read, no problem. Okay,
Okay,
Prabhu?
Prabhu. Okay.
Ah.
Malya Hari Kunda Devi Dasi. Okay. Despite Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas explaining clearly why the Daivi Varnashram Dharma is of great importance for devotees and ISKCON as a preaching movement, there is still sometimes some confusion as to how it should be introduced, what aspects are of more or less importance, the speed at which we should endeavor to establish it, and so on. The Dharma of women, Sri Dharma, is unfortunately often brushed aside as something of lesser importance or even totally neglected, as it is viewed by many as impractical, too idealistic, and even exploitative. That it is So is perhaps not surprising, as this tendency merely reflects the view of mainstream society that the role of a mother and a wife is, simply put, not very important. If you want to be someone, if you want to be viewed as doing something valuable for society, you must have an education and a job. Then only are you viewed as someone contributing to society. If you merely do your duty as mother and wife, you may even be seen as a parasite or a lazy person. Women masters or mothers explains nicely and clearly why Srila Prabhupada spoke and wrote quite often about the important role women have in society as devoted mothers and wives. The book makes it clear why Sri Dharma is very much relevant for the women of ISKCON here and now. If we want to show the world a positive example of stable family life, happy children, and harmonious marriages, at the present moment there is dissonance between the ideals and principles as presented by Srila Prabhupada on the role of women and the way these ideals are understood and practiced. As is pointed out in the book, an immediate change may not be possible, but at least the ideals should be upheld, strived towards, and propagated so that gradually we will move in the right direction, and the sooner the better. Sri Brajalila Devi Dasi. I am very grateful for having come
That is
across.
also you should read Flight Lieutenant, retired Indian Air Force, Bangalore, India. If they
Okay,
if
bro.
here they will understand. Okay,
Oh, okay.
no problem.
So, I am very grateful for having come across this book, Women Masters or Mothers. But I lament not having come across it earlier, for I would then have avoided many mistakes in my life. I was born and brought up in a simple South Indian family. My mother always dreamed that her daughter should be an independent woman. It didn't take much time for me to develop this desire and prove my worth, to enjoy power, respect in the society, and have some important identity. I saw that the best way to accomplish this desire, even at the cost of losing highly paid jobs in the West, is to be a lady officer in the armed forces, wearing uniform and getting salutes from the subordinates under my command. When asked in the Air Force selection interview by the president of the selection board as to why I wanted to be a commissioned officer in the Indian Air Forces, I gave the same reason: to enjoy respect that an officer in armed forces gets in the civil society. That president interviewer replied with a popular saying, "The grass on the other side always looks greener." And my reply to this his statement was, "I am sure that it is indeed very green." I was selected and joined the Air Force Academy. Within 10 days of the training in the academy, I started to think of quitting the training. But the but the thought and dreams of enjoying the respect, financial independence, and fame in the society made me stay and continue the training. Soon after the completion of the training phase, I got married to a fellow officer and started my new life as a wife and a commissioned officer in Indian Air Force simultaneously. Things started looking impossible. I wanted to excel in both and didn't want to compromise one duty for another. The tug of war started between professional front and the home front looking after family matters. I ended up requesting my superior officers to understand that it is difficult to stay away from my family. Whenever there was a requirement for me to stay in remote postings for many days at a time. At home also I began requesting my husband to cooperate, support, and understand that I am an officer and cannot be a wife to him in the same way that he had seen his mother be to his father. I used to wonder how the other married lady officers were managing their lives. I received many wise solutions and advice such as hire a cook, employ a full-time maid servant. If you want to cook for your family, the market is flooded with frozen and ready to use products. Purchase already chopped vegetables. Take full advantage of refrigerators and microwave ovens. Cook at a time for 4 days and enjoy dining outside on weekends as you are financially independent. You see, women are better managers, and so on and so forth. I started compromising the health of family and myself in order to try and maintain the balance of work and home duties. Stress started building up. Even after reaching home after work, The phone from the office kept ringing, and while at the office, my mind gave the list of things to be done at home. Also, I was not at all comfortable with being the only lady officer posted in a unit of 10 male officers and 300 airmen.
హరే కృష్ణ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్లో చాలా ఎక్కువ మాట్లాడుతున్నాను సో మేబీ యూ కెన్ గో టు ఏ
Ah,
ప్లేస్ వేర్ యూ కెన్
I think actually someone can continue, Prabhu. Like here, I cannot, like, someone can continue, no problem.
ఓకే ఓకే నో ప్రాబ్లం
Yes, bro. Hare Krishna.
హరే కృష్ణ ఓ కృష్ణ శివకుమార్ యూ కెన్ కంటిన్యూ ఐ నో దీస్ థింగ్స్ విల్ హ్యాపన్ शिवकुमार जी
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. Is it audible, Prabhu?
yes audible
Okay. I started becoming a victim of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, and extreme stress. Although my husband was caring enough and advised me several times to quit the job and that his earnings were sufficient to live a decent life, I resisted the idea. I would think how I was going to face the society. By this time, my family life was almost at a standstill as I was under severe stress and depression. Then, by divine arrangement, I came across and started to read Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada's words came like a hammer when I came across the phrase equality of men and women is a propaganda by men to fool women for their own benefit.
great
Things started to fall in place. I started to get more and more inner strength by reading his Divine Graces books. I started deriving strength to become devoted to God and to become a devotee wife and overcome the weakness of having to prove myself. I read the sections dealing with duties and responsibilities of women whose lives were based on scriptures again and again. Now, a third aspect was entering in my life, the life of Krishna consciousness. I realized that in order to go back home, back to Godhead, all the three aspects of work, family, and maintaining sadhana cannot be managed simultaneously. I will have to compromise one for the other. And I decided to leave my job for pursuing the other two on a full time basis. 6 years have passed, and I never regretted this decision even once. I agree with every line of this wonderful book, Women Masters or Mothers. In ISKCON, I am always looking for women who can inspire us with their personal examples of being good mothers and at the same time maintaining good sadhana. I find the actions of such mothers speaking louder than the voice of women sitting in front of the microphone and delivering lectures. We need more books like this in our movement, and I am happy for the young women readers who can take lessons from this book and save themselves from many troubles in life. Sudevi Devidasi, SNS, Belgrade, Serbia. Women Masters or Mothers gives profound psychological, social, and above all spiritual insights into the actual role and position of women in society. In the material world, people tend to decide what is right and wrong based on their selfish standards. They don't think about what Krishna wants and what he said, and so their whole so called knowledge and perception is based on the mental platform. On that mental platform, one is simply pulled this or that way by the material senses. Therefore, this talk of liberalism, open mindedness, being free is just a royal edition of animals, as Srila Prabhupada said. Western philosophy is nothing but footnotes of Plato's philosophy. He was an atheist, especially when it came to moral law. Plato claimed that morality is not a law given by a personal God and that ideal behavior of people can be discovered through intelligence, as there is no authority to teach us. The problem with this is when one is speculating and is not yet purified, then from his heart comes all kinds of material desires and nasty things, and these influence one's thoughts: lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, and madness. Postmodernism especially considers that everything is what you make out of it by yourself. Nietzsche, probably the first postmodern philosopher, said that modern man has to remake his soul. It means everyone has to make an identity for oneself out of nothing. In other words, it means we become God. These concepts are of the modern dominant philosophy known as New Age, which considers truth to be something you yourself discover by your own process. Jean Paul Sartre wrote a book, Being Out of Nothingness, and his girlfriend Simone de Beauvoir, the prototype of feminism, wrote a book, The Second Sex, but actually she drew her inspiration from Friedrich Nietzsche. Nietzsche said that people should be adventurous, experimental, dangerous, and they should celebrate the body. In his moral system, good is what heightens the feeling of power, and bad is all that proceeds from weakness. So, modern feminism is very concerned with these 2 points, and also that one should be authentic. We should have authentic relationships, which means that everything should be freely chosen. But in reality, their authenticity is imposed. This trend is actually ironic because Nietzsche was not very respectful towards women. Also, the life of Simon was quite scandalous. Srila Prabhupada, however, labeled all this for what it really was: Nirvishesha Shunyavada. These persons represent the background of liberal education. Whatever is necessary for education and life, we already have in the Vedas. We don't have to search or experiment with these so called modern liberal systems. Srila Prabhupada gave us the best system of learning moral values and spiritual knowledge. Srila Prabhupada introduced the concept of Swadharma, occupational duty, the characteristic. Everything has characteristics. Dharma means to render service. Everyone is rendering service according to their characteristics. Just like the characteristic of a microphone is to vibrate the sound. In the Varnashrama system, the guna, natural quality, karma, natural propensity of work and its reaction, and dharma, divinely ordained purpose of the human being, are the key factors of civilization. Those who condemn the Vedas are themselves condemned to blunder about in the darkness of social, moral, and religious experimentations. Culture, etiquette, and proper behavior distinguishes humans from animals. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami that maintenance of Vaishnava etiquette is the ornament of a devotee. Vedic culture or Varnashrama is the highest culture because it originates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:13, he created the Varnashrama system, the best possible social order and the highest manifestation of human culture. Vedic instructions are not subject to mistakes. The knowledge of the Vedas is received directly from God, and there is consequently no question of illusion, cheating, mistakes, and of imperfect senses. Principles can only be established by authority, not by mental speculation. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Ramananda Raya that even Sarvadharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja is not effective for Gokharas, animals. In the beginning, living beings have to rise to the level of human beings and stop Vikarma. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami to write a rule book beginning with details of basic standard Vaishnava behavior as a necessary accompaniment to chanting the other primary devotional services, to chanting and other primary devotional services. Varnashrama system is personal and has prescribed duties for every person from birth to death and leads individuals to the ultimate goal, Krishna consciousness. The goal of Daiva Varnashrama, divine or God centered Varnashrama, is the Parama Purushartha, the supreme goal of human life, love for Krishna. When we combine buddhi, intelligence that Krishna is giving, with our determination to follow Krishna, that is called Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. The Varnashrama definition of women's roles in society perfectly complements the female nature. It prescribes the means by which the female nature may be naturally dovetailed in the service of Krishna, thus pointing the way back to Godhead for the soul in a woman's body. Modern people may say such a definition of a woman's role in society is patriarchal or misogynist. But what social system have they invented that can surpass Krishna's own Varnashrama Dharma? Actually, such people are simply barbarians who can understand only one social principle, sense gratification, the principle of animal society. Both women and men are equally bound by scriptural injunctions. A man who accepts a wife must return her service in so many ways by protecting and caring for her. He must also respect all other women besides his wife, just as he respects his own mother. Be one for whom the mother is God. Taittiriya Upanishad 111.2. A vital role of women is not simply bear children, but to themselves be religious and of pure consciousness. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 140, unprotected women become victims of unscrupulous men, and thus Varna Sankara are born, and the whole civilization is spoiled. Therefore, one of the purposes of this book is to counteract propaganda that Srila Prabhupada treated men and women equally in all respects. Men and women are spiritually equal, but they are materially and socially different. In today's oversexed society, women are the main sufferers because they are more often and more seriously exploited. Men should protect women from exploitation by lusty men. According to Srila Prabhupada, so called equal rights for women means that the men cheat the women. Another kind of protection that women require is emotional support of a man, without which they tend to feel insecure and dissatisfied or dysfunctional, even to the point of becoming a feminist. Often it is seen that women who are superficially renunciants try to cozy up to a man, usually a renunciant, whom they admire. They cannot forswear their need for male shelter. Undoubtedly, this need for male protection is a major reason why formal renunciation for women is mostly discouraged within Vedic culture, wherein women are glorified for being chaste, not for being renounced. Again, it may not be easy to quickly change one's way of thinking. Even if one agrees with the principles, it could, for various reasons, be very difficult to implement them. Nonetheless, reform is needed, and a reform begins with understanding of principles. HHBVKS Seminar Principles for Establishing Varnashrama Communities. My gratitude to H.H. Bhaktivikasa Swami, who tirelessly and unwaveringly preaches Krishna consciousness and Vedic culture as a perfect example of a faithful disciple of Srila Prabhupada's, and a Brahmana sannyasi, a natural teacher of the society. I feel this book will appeal to all individuals and can greatly help society by making sure that women are taken care of and are protected in every aspect.
1 second, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just 1 second. You can read this one, Sugita Vani Devi Dasi.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Sugita Vani Devi Dasi, JPS, Mayapur, Thiruvananthapuram, India. Women, masters or mothers, is refreshingly different in that it makes us halt and review the direction our movement is taking and the path that we, its individual members, are treading. His Holiness Bhaktivikasa Swami appears to have dwelt deep into the recesses of Srila Prabhupada's mind and instructions before coming up with a searchlight to show us the way ahead. This book draws attention to the danger for ISKCON in assimilating ideas wholesale from mainstream society in the course of preaching. It makes an urgent appeal to members to practice Krishna consciousness without striking compromises with materialistic society. It shows how much compromises harm, hamper, and slow us down, and how it could even eventually derail our movement. While containing a wealth of advice on how female members of our movement might make their lives successful, the relevance of this book is by no means restricted to Vaishnavis alone. This book has answered questions that troubled me and put to rest a growing sense of disquiet that I had been experiencing as a result of what I observed around me. I urge those who are wary of picking up women masters or mothers to disabuse their minds of prejudice and preconceived notions and to take a good, hard look at what it proposes.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much. I will
Thank you,
request some
Prabhu.
other devotee to read you.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Shubhankar ji, are you there? You able to hear? If you are there, you are able to hear me, then you can connect yourself. Then you can read. Swayam Raseshwari Devi Dasi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Swayam Raseshwari Devidasi. Ballav Vidyanagar, India, US. I was raised in America and came of age during the rise of the women's liberation movement and the sexual revolution. Luckily, I was too young to participate in all those so-called newfound freedoms, but unfortunately they did have an effect on my consciousness. I came across Srila Prabhupada's teachings quite late in my life, but it was not hard for me to see that Srila Prabhupada was preaching the absolute truth. I could easily see that Krishna had designed a template for perfect society. The re-establishment of Varnashrama Dharma seemed to be the best way to save society. His Holiness Bhakti Vikasa Maharaj has outlined so many reasons why this is true in his book Women, Masters or Mothers. It would benefit all devotees to read his book with an open mind and an open heart. ISKCON needs to fully accept Srila Prabhupada's instructions and desires and create communities where devotees can live the way that Krishna intended. I realize that there are many controversial topics presented herein by His Holiness, but I know in my heart that what he says is right and true. We may not like the bitter medicine, but it is what we need right now to save society. Srila Prabhupada wanted us to carry forth his mission, and the only way we can stay true to his teachings is to follow Varnashrama Dharma as fully as possible in this age of Kali. This book can show us the ideal, and the closer we get to this ideal, the closer we will come to Krishna. Bhagavat Priya Devidasi, MVS, Civil Engineer, Indian Army, Jamnagar, India. I read the book Women, Masters or Mothers and really appreciate Maharaj producing such a publication. Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami has presented a realistic view of today's culture through his divine and realized knowledge. He made the point in the book that everyone should respect women and also gave the way for women to be respected in society. In the modern age, women suffer due to the cruelty and brutality of some of the members of society. This is really shameful and creates a dangerous future. One of the most important points I saw in this book is that nowadays women are completely unprotected due to the phenomenon of feminism created by the present society. Feminism states that women are equal to men. This is socially incorrect because when women are working as housewives, Even after getting a good material education, they can make their home into heaven. But when mothers work outside the home for money, they cannot instill proper culture and values in their children and cannot properly serve their husbands and other family members. As a result of this, there is dissatisfaction among family members. Mothers are known as the first guru of the child. Maharaj clearly and directly explained in this book that men and women are naturally created differently by God, so we should not try to challenge nature. Women should be great mothers and not servants of low paying businessmen. If we minimize our material necessities and follow the motto of simple living and high thinking, all money problems will automatically be solved. In our Indian culture, every woman deserves the same respect as a goddess, but this motto of simple living and high thinking is gradually vanishing, and this will create a dangerous social condition for the world in the future. Maharaj has reflected that nowadays mothers are studying but they do not know how to cook, which is a basic skill required for a mother. So every devotee should enlighten themselves about the important roles of women in society, as this is the only way for universal social harmony. If we want to save our Sanatana Dharma and Vedic culture, every young mother should read this book and follow the points herein. We should come out of the mentality of trying to promote equality between men and women. Line S. Blom, von der School, Master of Arts in Philosophy, Copenhagen, Denmark. How do we continuously keep Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON on the right track, being loyal to the aim that he, as the founder Acharya, had set for our movement to save the entire human society? H. Bhaktivedanta Swami gives a clear and unambiguous answer to this question in his book Women, Masters or Mothers. By repeatedly referring to Srila Prabhupada's direct teachings and to Shastra, he refutes the arguments of materialistic ideologies such as egalitarianism, feminism, liberal humanism, and moral relativism that tries to defeat ISKCON's traditional Vedic culture and values, even from within the movement. This book is dealing with statements of Srila Prabhupada like Varnashrama Dharma and feminism within ISKCON, which many devotees avoid discussing because these subjects are too controversial to discuss openly. H. Bhaktivedanta Swami mentions in the book that over the years the leadership of ISKCON has quietly, without consulting the wider body of devotees, promoted assimilation with the broader society rather than conquest of it by Varnashrama Dharma. In this book, he takes up statements of Srila Prabhupada and shows us why Varnashrama Dharma offers a comprehensive solution to the crisis of the modern world, and very much related with that, why we oppose feminism within ISKCON. I feel that this is an extremely important book for all devotees, both Prabhus and Matajis, because it helps us to understand our real identity as Vaishnavas, following Vedic culture and regulations, and to not fall victim of becoming devotees, standing with one leg in the Vedic tradition and the other in the hedonistic modern society of today. Since only a few are pure devotees, we have been given the prescription of Daiva Varnashrama Dharma as the original divine method, which Srila Prabhupada advocated since the beginning of his preaching in the West, and later on after establishing Krishna consciousness in the West. He emphasized the importance of this ideal social structure more so to help devotees to come to the spiritual platform. H. Bhaktivedanta Swami mentions the famous quote of Srila Prabhupada: 50% of my work is not complete because I have not established Varnashrama Dharma, both in the beginning and in the end of his book, and thus leaves us with the understanding that we, as the present and the future generations of ISKCON have to take this statement seriously if we wish to follow the mission of Srila Prabhupada. This book is a real eye-opener and makes us really wonder whether we are really following the teachings of Srila Prabhupada or still keep too much of the inheritance of the worldly thinkers of the West in our worldview and life. If we stick to the facts that H.H. Bhaktivedanta Swami gives us in the book, it is obvious why Srila Prabhupada has emphasized the social system of Varnashrama Dharma and why he opposed feminism. Important topics are clearly analyzed and discussed, such as female Diksha Gurus, divorce, female leaders, sannyasinis, career women, and the mistake of looking down on women who choose a most valuable life as full-time mothers. The arguments are clear, and whether we like it or not, we must realize that even though men and women are equal on the spiritual platform, we are not equal on the material and social platform. My experience in studying this book is that it is a very thorough analysis of these topics and it is written in genuine mood of protection of is written in a genuine mood of protection of women. I have been in the situation of working outside on a full-time basis in the society for many years, and after having taken to Krishna consciousness in the last 5 years, I can definitely follow and agree with the conclusion of this book. Spiritual life becomes very difficult living in the modern cities, where working outside is gone in the corporate world. Superficially, the book might be judged as an attack on women's freedom and emancipation, but it is just the opposite. It is a very brave and noble attempt to make us women aware of the dangerous traps of Maya in the form of modern society, sucking out our energy to perform our spiritual duties, and placing us in an artificial social position in which the real intrinsic nature of a woman is not able to flourish neither emotionally, in the family, or even intellectually. I am thoroughly convinced about Srila Prabhupada's and Shastra statements that shyness and chastity is a real empowerment of a woman. I can understand that the biggest part of our challenge in our Krishna conscious movement is that we must be brave and take the step to live in a fully Krishna conscious community, preferably on the farm. It surely will open up the revival of the natural position of women primarily as mothers, where we will feel much more protected and able to fulfill our natural propensities. For as Srila Prabhupada stated, the Krishna consciousness movement is means for thoroughly overhauling the whole human society. Morning Walk, September 25th, 1975, Ahmedabad. Quite a brave ambition which can lead to a bright future.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you very much. Already
Thank you,
time
Prabhu.
is up.
Hare Krishna.
5 minutes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. So that's it. We will today, time is up. We will stop unless and until if devotees want to ask any, maybe one question we can answer if the devotees want. Otherwise, we're going to stop here. You want to ask any question, then you may ask for the mic access, or you may pose a question over here in the questions tab or in the chat box. So, oh, PDF available. You can, PDF is not available, Prabhu. You can get an ebook. So for which I can give you the link where you can order the ebooks. That is Mothers and Masters, Mothers and Masters ebook is available. So what you can do is you can go for ebook. Here is the Amazon Kindle version link. So you can go and download this if you have a Kindle with you, and you can go and get this book. And if you want Apple book, and we don't have Apple in this. We have Google Play Books. So I can give that link also here. So devotees can go and they can get these ebooks. Direct PDF we don't give. It's not allowed. Only for reading purpose. You see, a bookmark is a what I can say, watermark is there only for reading purpose. So even we are not allowed to read this. I don't have access of this. So it's a Google Playbook. PDF is not allowed. So these are the links of Mothers and Masters of Amazon Kindle version and Google Playbook. Any other question anybody wants to ask? No. Okay. Thank you very much for kindly concentrating. We will meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhibhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nante nidhaya trinakam padayornipatya kritva च काकुशतम् एतद् अहं ब्रवीमि हे साधमः सकलमिव विहाय दूरात् चैतन्य चन्द्र चरणे कुरुतानुरागात्. हरे कृष्ण.